Hello everyone, it is Kendra. It has been far too long. That is the first thing I'm just gonna say. I know it's been forever since I've been on YouTube, since I uploaded a video, but I promise I'm not going anywhere. I've got some stuff to explain. We'll get into that, okay? So if you are new here, thank you so much for joining us today. Hit that like, comment down below, all those good things. We are going to be doing a spring wrap up today. All of the books that I have read since, March, I believe. Summer is coming up here shortly. It is already getting way too hot for my liking where I am living right now in Iowa. But yeah, we will get into all of the books. The first one that I want to mention is the one that I was almost finished with the last time I did a wrap-up, and that was The Parasitic Mind by Gad Saad. I just wanted to mention it because I wasn't all the way through and I had given a rating, but I just wanted to confirm I still am going to stick with my 4 out of 5 star rating. I did really enjoy the book and the content. However, it was just a bit academic. Like, there was a lot of in-text citations, things like that, so it was a bit harder to read and a bit slower getting through it just because it wasn't as natural to read from. But I still think the information in the book is amazing. I think everyone should read it. It really helps to open your mind to all the crazy ideas that are out there. So give that one a read. Next one I read was The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. I gave this, looking at my notes here, I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I honestly don't even remember what I said about this, so let me check my Goodreads reviews. Here is what I said about The Other Boleyn Girl. I listened to the audiobook and flew through it. Of course, there is a lot of drama to keep you on the edge of your seat. I know very little about this time period of the Boleyn family, but it was an entertaining story and a look into the unimaginable life of a woman at court. Oh my god, the things that women did. I could never put up with all that. Reading some of the scenes, with her family where her uncles are making her do things, literally made my blood boil. I could not handle it. Anyway, makes me very thankful that we have moved on from those days and women have more freedoms. Absolutely. While it was entertaining, it was a bit long and not my favorite genre, and so I don't see myself rereading or picking up another Philippa Gregory novel anytime soon. So, I also realized after the fact that I was reading this, so this book and I have a history. I read probably about 2/3 of this book over 5 to 7 years ago, and I knew it was intriguing, but for some reason at the time I had put it down and I never picked it up again. So apparently this spring was the time to pick it up again, and I actually had the audiobook somehow. I must have downloaded it in order to entice myself to pick it up again, and I finally got to it. But the audiobook was very good. It was drama filled because of course it was. They made these women do horrific things just to pleasure the king and move their family ahead. But anyway, nevertheless, it was entertaining. However, it was long, and again, like I said, not my favorite genre. Probably not going to pick up another one soon. So, moving on to the next book. I actually have a physical copy of this one. Pillow Thoughts by Courtney Peppernell. This one I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. I actually did something I normally don't do with books. I dog-eared a bunch of them because I dog-eared the poems that really spoke to me and I knew that I really liked, and I would probably want to go back and for sure reread the ones that I dog-eared in the future. So 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this poetry. I fly through poetry. So yeah, that's this one. Go give it a read. I highly recommend. Next one I read was The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This book, you guys. Okay. If you know, you know. Like, so my best friend Abby, she has a book club. She chose this for her book club for April, I believe. And I think what honestly made me love this book more was the discussion that we had. And oh my gosh, that book. Okay, first of all, let me just read you my review. A beautiful read. Totally stand by that. Started out a bit slow for me, but after I hit the halfway point, I finished the book 2 days later. I think this book has so many good life lessons in it, and the writing was beautiful as well. The characters are so real and relatable, and I was laughing and crying along with them. Overall, a solid good read. I think I will gain even more from it when I reread it sometime. I do stand by that, like, it was a little slow in the beginning, but I was also reading it on my Kindle. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, because literally I picked up the physical book and then I was done 2 days later, like I said. So I don't know if it's... I really just don't seem to be picking up ebooks as much as I had hoped. I really am figuring out that I like having a physical copy because it's really easy for me to see what I have read and what I need to read. And that, to me, is like a motivator. Like, I'll grab my current read here. So this is the current book that I'm reading, If I Stay, by Gail Foreman. And it's really nice for me to have my bookmark as a physical marker. Like, I know that I have read this chunk and this is how much I have to go. Like, it's just, I don't know what it is about that visual reminder that I love having on a physical book, and just like just flipping through the pages of a book. You can't get any better than that to me. I can't get the same effect from a Kindle. And it's not easy to flip through the pages, and I'm always one where if I'm like, I'm gonna read this book in a week, I will tab out like the pages that I need to read each day in order to get it done in a week. Like, I don't know. I'm just that kind of person. I'm just rambling on at this point. But The House on the Cerulean Sea. Please go read it. It is amazing. I didn't even know that this was a story about, like, it has a queer author. TJ Klune is queer, and he inserts those elements into this book so beautifully and so perfectly. And I didn't know it was coming. I was just so all for it. Like, oh my god, the relationships in this book are absolutely beautiful. I can't say enough about this. Please, just go read it. It's so good. Moving on from my rambles, number 5, that is Sold by Patricia McCormick. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars, and in order to keep this concise, let's just read from my Goodreads again. Maybe I should just call this video Reading My Goodreads Reviews to You. I do this because I literally forget about books so quickly after I read them. I don't know why. I'm like just in it for the experience while I'm in it, and I don't know. I'm weird with books. Let's move on. Sold by Patricia McCormick. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I said it was heartbreaking, sickening, and powerful. This book very clearly shows us the nightmares of what it is like for a young girl sold into sex trafficking. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because I wish there was a bit more at the end of the story to see if Lakshmi, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, safely makes it away from Happiness House. Overall, a powerful narrative and one I wish was not the truth. And that was the hardest part about getting through this book. It was literally, there were times I had to put it down because it was making me, like, feel physically sick for what these girls go through. It's so disgusting and so wrong, and like, I'm glad I read it because I have that perspective, and I have to remember that things like that happen in the world. And it's sad, and I know, like, I don't know, it just helps me to be grateful for what I do have, because it just makes me so sad that any human being would have to go through anything remotely close to that. Just, it baffles me, to be quite honest. Let's just go on to the next one, and that is I Hope You Stay by Courtney Peppernell. I really loved the illustrations on this one. I love otters, and I just thought the otters in the spacesuits were just so cute. And they're not like regular stars, they're starfish, sea stars. So cute. I also dog-eared some on this one. Again, a thing I normally don't do, but with poetry, the ones that speak to me, I have to find a way to mark them easily so I can go back, and that's what I did. Anyway, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Why? I don't know. Let's see. Let's consult Sir Goodreads here. I wrote, this one wasn't as strong as Pillow Thoughts was for me, but there were still a good handful of poems that I resonated with and that I will go back and read again. I also loved the otter illustrations. I think that just says it all. So, moving on to, let's see, the 7th book on my list. I also have a past with this book, and that is Johnny Got His Gun by Dalton Trumbo. This book is old. Let's see, when is the copyright? I think the original one was 1939, so decently old. However, I have had this book on my shelf for a while because I knew at some point I wanted to attempt to reread it. I read this book in sophomore English in high school, and I remember liking it then. I did not finish this one. I started rereading it, and I remembered, anyway, like, I'm so bad at, why do I even make videos, you guys? I'm so bad at, like, putting my thoughts into clear and concise sentences. I just ramble on. So, I'm sorry, but I hope you enjoy. Anyway, that book is about a soldier who has gone to war, and you are hearing things from his perspective. However, he is a quadruple amputee, he's blind, deaf, and I don't know, basically he's lost pretty much all of his senses, and it's just his thoughts. And sometimes that's really hard to read from. And I don't know what it was about it that I don't know. I think it was just a bit slow for me, and there was nothing pushing me to read the book that I didn't want to continue. I didn't get super far in it. I think it was just, like, not the time to read it, and I don't really see myself picking it up ever again. So I think I'm just going to enjoy the fact that I got something from it when I was in high school, and I can remember the story and still think about, you know, what it means, all that stuff, but I didn't feel like I needed to reread it again, I guess. But yeah, I DNF'd that one, did not finish. Moving on. After, wow, all of that, like, hard stuff to deal with, I needed something lighter, a comedy. So I listened to the audiobook of Unqualified by Anna Faris. Oh my gosh, was this exactly what I needed. It was so funny. I loved her narration. I loved all her stories. It was about love and her love life and different things. Anyway, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I honestly, I didn't read this all that long ago, but I don't remember why I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I said I listened to the audiobook of this, and I always enjoy when people tell their own stories. It's so great to hear the emotions in their voice, and listening to them telling their own experiences normally solidifies their message for me. I enjoyed hearing about Anna's love life and career. Overall, a solid read and an entertaining listen. Definitely entertaining, definitely enjoyed, and it was, you know, just that light book that I needed at the time. The next one was something different for me, and that was a graphic novel, and I picked up Book Club by Debbie Tung. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Oh my gosh, this was so cute. I picked this up because of Morgan Long. I'm not sure if any of you have ever heard of her. Abby told me about her. I don't know how. I did not know about her. Her videos are the most beautiful things. The music, the landscape in Oregon. Oh, it's all just so beautiful. Please go check her out. But she made me pick this up. It is just a graphic novel. Okay, first of all, this is beautiful. All the books. But her illustrations are just, like, they're just little, they're just cute. It's just all about book lovers and loving books, and if you even mildly enjoy books, you will relate to some of the comics in there, and they just had me laughing out loud, and it was just so sweet and lighthearted, and it gives you all the feels, all the cozy, like, vibes, and I am keeping it because I guarantee you I will reread it again. If you're ever in a reading slump, read that. It will make you fall in love with books again. Next book I have to talk about is The Year of Wonder by Geraldine Brooks. I picked this one up because Ariel Bisset was talking about it, and all I knew was it was about the plague and this woman's experience, and supposedly her town was going to quarantine, do something different, and her experience through that. I DNF'd this book as well. I was over 100 pages through it, and it's not a particularly long book. It is 304 pages long, it looks like, and I was over 100 pages in, and I still was like, I'm like forcing myself to read this, and so I did not finish it. It was moving a bit slow. It was doing like flashbacks, I feel like, from before the plague and after the plague. Maybe my head was just not in the right spot to read this book. I got over 100 pages through it and I still wasn't that excited about reading it, and my rule is if I'm over 100 pages in and I don't want to read it, I'm done. I'm just done. I have given it a fair shot, and if I'm still not enjoying it, then there's no reason in like pressuring myself into reading a book that I'm not enjoying, you know? So the next one on my list is also a graphic novel. This one's very different, however. This was a Bob's Burgers graphic novel. It says it's from the producers, writers, and animators of the hit TV show. I love Bob's Burgers. Trid and I both love Bob's Burgers. It is hilarious to me. These are so good. The illustrations are just like the show. Some of them, I didn't even write it down. I believe I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. 3 out of 5 stars. Let's look it up. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I wrote, there were a few of the stories that I loved and I could see being episodes, but the rest were just okay to me. All the art was great and I enjoyed all the different cover art at the end. I don't do graphic novels that often, so I'm glad I picked it up, but I don't think I'll be reading another one soon either. So this one is like, I feel like your standard graphic novel. It's a bit larger. It would have like a volume on the side. There's a few different stories in it. It has a lot of bold colors, like what I typically think of anyway when I think of a graphic novel or a comic book, things of that sort. I think it's just not quite my particular style, and so that's why I'm not really drawn to it. However, this graphic novel, I highly love the subject to begin with. It's about books, hello. And I like this one better because it's in black and white. I feel like it just reminded me more of like newspaper comics in like little strips versus this, how it's like kind of all over the place and like thought bubbles, and it was a bit harder for me to follow than the book club one, where it was more like a newspaper, and I feel like that just gave it more of like a cozy vibe to it as well, since it wasn't so bold and in your face with the color and the illustration. It was a bit more soft. I don't know, I loved that graphic novel, and this one was like just okay to me. It was hilarious in the fact that some of them were very good stories, and I could see them being actual episodes of the show, which I would love because I love the show. However, yeah, just not quite my style. So on that note, I did tell you already I'm reading If I Stay right now by Gail Forman. And that is where we're at. It is June 9th when I'm filming this. No idea when this will go up, but that is what I have read this spring. I hope you all enjoyed. I am going to be filming a life update here literally right after this video. I said I would get into that. But I think I'm just gonna make it a separate video because it's been so long already, and I know that it will be a giant video if I combine them into two. I will see y'all in a life update video, and I hope y'all enjoyed this spring wrap up. Let me know down below what you've been reading, and if you've read any of these books, what were your thoughts on them? All the good things. Let's have a discussion below all about books. I have been missing like talking about books and just interacting with you guys. I'm sorry it's been so long, but you will figure out why in the life update, so please check that out. Yeah, I will see you in the next video, and I hope y'all have a happy day. Bye.